Hey, Stosh Vlog fans, Stosh back. My second attempt to do a vlog on the Illuminatus Trilogy. Special request and shout out to my good friend Philip from, I think, Brazil. He's cool. So, this is a legendary book. Well over 100,000 copies sold back in the early 70s. Huge hit. Before there was Dan Brown's Angels and Demons and so forth, there was this absurdist novel dealing with the Illuminati. The Illuminati. The Bavarian Illuminati. It has the Eye of Providence and the pyramid on the cover. Many excellent covers of this book over time. It's by Robert Anton Wilson and Robert Shea. Chiefly, I guess we think of it as Robert Anton Wilson, who was, in his own words, an agnostic mystic. He definitely was an occultist of some type, out of Brooklyn, New York. He is the pope of a absurdist religion known as Discordianism. That would be, you may have seen stickers around the world, and in particularly in America, of Bob the Subgenius with the pipe. Bob the Church of Subgenius. That was before Obey. I love that kind of thing. You hit the street, there's like stickers everywhere. You go around Manhattan, Chicago, whatever. Denver, Colorado actually is one of the kings of street stickers. I digress as usual. So this is an awesome book. There's spoiler alert. There's some spoiler alert in this, but basically, I'm going to delve into Eye in the Pyramid, which is book 1 of the trilogy of the Illuminatus. The Discordian Society. I have my own side organization. Stosh. So, okay, so this deals with the 3 central characters would be Saul, I guess. Leave it to me. I don't know how well I break down book reviews for me. They're pretty good, I guess. Saul Goodman and Barry Muldoon, New York City detectives, are on a wild case. The Confrontation, a leftist magazine. There's a bombing there. Paperwork leads Saul and Barney Muldoon and Saul, New York City detectives. New York, the finest. The trail leads to powerful secret societies. There's an awesome scene where Saul checks it out with his girlfriend, who's supposed to be hot. He's like, "What do you know about this Bavarian Illuminati?" She's like, "It's fake. It was made by a group of Berkeley College students. There's no such thing as Adam Weishaupt." This book, it does mesh the real with fantasy. I mean, there's no dispute about it. There was a real secret society, the Illuminists, of Ingolstadt, Bavaria, where Mary Shelley placed her character of Dr. Frankenstein within. Adam Weishaupt, maybe I'll do a blog of Adam Weishaupt another time, is a huge hit around the paranoid. It was the Jesuit university out of Ingolstadt, of which he was a professor. And also Dr. Frankenstein apparently went to that university. There was Weishaupt, and there's only that many. There's not that many sources about it. There's a woman that was hired by Winston Churchill, Nestor Webster. She has a very forbidden book called The Secret Societies and Subversive Movements. There is Professor John Robinson, who was a British Mason who was basically very suspicious of the Freemason secret societies in the continent, and he wrote Proofs of Conspiracy, which he talks about why should I breathe through my organization, and we have a system of fives where I believe he has a system of fives who there'll be one and the group of five, and that's all. They're not connected. That's an espionage type of technique that different groups use. Bavarian Illuminati, if you look at their aims and so forth, it's essentially pretty communistic, and this was the time of the Enlightenment. It's been said more than once that it was said that they were disbanded. Their paperwork was found. Some say it was almost a miracle that one of their couriers was zapped by lightning, and the paperwork was made available to the war, and then the Bavarian authorities outlawed the organization. That was supposed to be it, but some people say that it moved on and was sort of the hidden hand behind the French Revolution. That didn't happen that much after. It's also strange, 1776 was also the birth of capitalism. Some people say Adam Smith's writings on capitalism formed, and if you think that the Bavarian Illuminati was significant, some say it is a significant influence upon communistic thinking. They have similar aims. Then 1776 was the birth of pretty much communism and capitalism. You could make that argument. Or not. There's some hilarious stuff. I think it's called The Illuminoids. There's another book called The Illuminoids. The author's name escapes me. He has a part in it that's really wild. That, in fact, General Washington was killed, or he was kidnapped, and he was replaced with Adam Weishaupt. You come to find out via the internet Wikipedia entry of Weishaupt that they have now a picture of his death's head, so you can get a look at what he looked like. And there's a lot of writing on that. He did like philanthropic stuff, so he is not very unlike pretty much left-leaning people of today. Robert Anton Wilson's views are interesting in that he's a super satirist, playwright, poet. He says he's agnostic, not just about God, but about everything. So he said, my goal, or his quote, his goal is to try to keep people in a state of generalized agnosticism. So he's a very interesting guy. I would say there's no doubt that he's very valuable. His works are valuable to read. He's a great introduction into other stuff, but he's definitely, without question, he's giving you the idea that he's bullshitting with you. That can't be ignored. And it's some sort of nothing is real. So I'm a huge fan of him, but I can't help thinking, and if you are a huge fan of him, put in the liner notes, there's something a little sinister about Anton Wilson, even though I like him super much. In that, you know, he's irreverent as I am. So it's, you know, it's hard to tell where he's coming from. I digress. I didn't want to get into a moral top chit chat of that. But in other words, he's attacking stuff and everything is agnostic. So it does come off that way, even though he probably really wasn't that way, and his central message is probably pretty good. But it's just it can be hard to take sometimes. So he's to be read with caution, but you definitely should read all his stuff. So there you go. And it gets a little weirder than that, and this Discordian religion, which is sort of its brilliant, and yet it does it, you know, very, I guess, anti-capitalistic, anti-Christian, I suppose, is, you know, it's a legit religion in that they have a Principate Discordia. All hail Eris. Am I saying that name right? The Church of the Subgenius does a lot of screwing with you. There's a legit connection to reality in that one of the co-founders is a Kerry Thornley. And he was an acquaintance of Lee Harvey Oswald, the alleged assassin of John F. Kennedy, and that's worth noting. Which adds to his cred. It's very strange that he would know him and then get involved in this religion. I'm probably one of the only people who ever say, is Robert Anton Wilson sinister? Oh, you fuck. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying, you know, beware that some of his stuff is kind of irreverent, and be prepared for it. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't check it out. Equally so, the Illuminatus Trilogy is definitely worth checking out. It's a valuable lesson in propaganda as well. Not just conspiracies, but once you read a book like this, it'll be a little bit harder to put shit over on you. And it's mixed with science, history, occultism, politics, esoteric stuff, hallucinations. I mean, it's got references to H.P. Lovecraft, the Necronomicon, and Nixon. Ewige Bleichaft. Ewige Bleichaft. Am I saying that right? Ewige Bleichaft. It's the Discordians in an eternal battle with the Illuminati. The conspiratorial organization that secretly controls the world. The idea of the Illuminists is that, you know, they funded the Jacobin, and they pulled off the French Revolution, and that Weishaupt, imitating techniques of the Jesuit order, took over the Masons and they ruled the world. I think that's that paranoia I was just doling out about the development of capitalism and communism the same year is from, you know, paranoid writings. That might be true. Damn it. But well, I mean, they developed this Discordian and the Subgenius and everything to do with it, based on chaos. I'm unaware of whether or not they thought of themselves as so-called chaos magicians, which has been a thing building in popularity, especially in urban areas. A lot of hipsters will say that they practice the chaos magic with a K. But they are inspired by the goddess of chaos, Eros. And they worship the golden apple of discord. The temples are bowling alleys. I'm unaware of whether or not Jeffrey Lebowski is a member. The Church of the Subgenius is also, like I was just sort of putting it out there. I was warned it's kind of irreverent. It's hilarious as well. Equally filled with themes of Discordianism. Yeah, the Lar Fives, right, there you go. Hegbard Celine is the woman who comes in the Golden Submarine to rescue George, the writer from the George Dorn, the reporter for Confrontation. Yeah. Yeah, Rebecca Goodman is the hot student lady that explains to Saul that the Illuminati is crap. It was constructed by the Berkeley College students. I don't know. I guess the Bob Church of Subgenius thing is still out there, but it is certainly not as big as it was. I think the Obey thing has taken supremacy over that. It's hard to say if the main character is George Dorn or Bonnie or Saul or Saul Goodman. I don't know. They would be the principal characters. But they break George out of jail there, so I bet you Anton Wilson or Robert Shea thought of themselves as George. I don't know. The Principia Discordia is a real book that you can get. In the Big Book of Conspiracies, there was something alleging that they had found copies of it in Attorney Garrison's, the DA that was working on the post. You know, the lawyer involved with the Kennedy assassination. I don't know. But the Principia Discordia, or How the West Was Lost. Limited editions. The symbol has an apple, the sacred KO. Actually, yeah, I mean, the Kerry Thornley title, The Principia Discordia, How the West Was Lost, was placed in the JFK collections as a document, literally. Adam Gorightly, who I made a YouTube for him, wrote a book about Kerry Thornley. So he was a wildcat and literally was an acquaintance of Oswald himself, to add to the kind of myth behind all this stuff. Robert Anton Wilson, who what I've loved to have met. I wonder if he would have told me, "You're full of shit." He was a big fan of Count Korbiewski, if I'm saying this right, not right. The man who brought us the man is a time-bound entity, being, and animals are space bound. It's a good thing to know. So if you try to get in an animal space, you'll understand why they're pissed off, because they are space-bound entities. Adam Weishaupt is, of course, still alive. He lives in Washington, D.C. So, maybe I'll do, you know what, I always put part 1, I never do a freaking part 2. I think this thing I'm going to do part 2. So, I'm rereading it now in recently, and that's why I ended up at the part where, the Discordian Freeman, Hagbard Selene. I love how, yeah, she central part. There's more than one central protagonist. She, of course, is. Why am I saying her? It's a guy. Sorry. Whatever. This is the Discordian person that comes to rescue George. Alright? Hagbard is a free man. Paralleling the Jules Verne character Captain Nemo, but he's kind of a pirate guy. Species human. Howard Crane. Hagbard died for love. Sorry, I'm drifting. I'm drifting, guys. Anyway, this is my take on part 1. Yog Solo. I reached to the part roughly around the area of page 150 when they're getting into John Dillinger. John Dillinger was basically claiming that he was set up by the Illuminist. Very freaky, guys. Let me know what you think. Phil, I hope this was somewhat helpful, or did I make it worse? Basically, they were out to stop World War III. That was going to be the next great Cold War standoff because of the island of Fernando Poo. I always hated that name. That's the only thing I don't like about this book. I hate that fucking Fernando Poo name. Other than that, the Illuminatus trilogy. All hail Eris. Alright, good night, guys.